Hey there, welcome to Work in Progress. My name is Rowan. I'm a writer at Presentation Studio. I'm joined by Jacob Granger. He's a designer at Presentation Studio, and we're here to talk to you about the things that we're kind of working on, things that we're interested in. We're going to be doing that from a content and a design perspective. So Jacob, what have you been working on?
This week, I have been looking into architecture and I thought I'd sort of go deeper into one of my favorite architects, which is Frank Lloyd Wright.
Sweet. And what kind of made you decide to think about that?
Earlier in the week, I saw on Twitter a hashtag millennial retirement plans that blew up.
I didn't hear that. What was that about?
Our generation sort of venting their frustrations around their inability to access a more asset-driven market or an increasingly asset-driven market.
Right. So like they can't buy a house?
So I thought from an abstract perspective to look into architecture that Frank Lloyd Wright might be able to give us sort of an alternative perspective to problem solving on the issue. Frank Lloyd Wright from the 1920s and 30s was an architect who in a 70-year career designed these sort of temple-like palatial buildings for, quite aristocratic clients. And then towards the later end of his life, decided that he was going to design low-cost modular houses for the middle class. And the way that he did that was through functional use of space, materials, and a focus on the sovereignty of the individual. He tied his way of building homes into the Constitution, about the freedom and the rights of that person, also making sure that someone's living scenario was totally appropriate to how they wanted to live, because he believed that the way that we live helped to form our habits and helped to actually form the who we are as people. So he was able to, I think, at the end of his career, use experience from things like that to really help fuel his work for average, working class people. One thing that comes back with Frank Lloyd Wright is how to do more with less overall. The guy wanted you to sort of only live in the space or use the space as much as you needed to, and then the rest of your life should be out exploring. And in the same sense, if you take that into a content perspective, what's your key purpose in your message, And
Sure.
The focus should be on who's delivering that, and everything else should be removed. So Ron, what have you been working on?
I have been working on trying to get viral, man. Like everyone is trying to make that piece of content.
Should be smashing the hashtags.
Yeah, that piece of content that goes viral, that gets lots of clicks. I feel like that's kind of how most marketers and most things are driving at the moment. One of the people that I have seen do that really well lately is he's a musician named Hobo Johnson. Have you heard of Hobo Johnson? He's a 23-year-old musician from Sacramento in California. He released in 2018 a video called Peach Scone, which is a song that he's written for a girl that he fell in love with while he was working at a pizza place. The song racked up, I think last time I checked the video, which was this morning, it had 15 million views. It feels very off the cuff. It feels very lo-fi. Yeah, exactly. So he tried doing it with the big cameras and the big budgets, but it didn't get the same reaction that he thought it would, and it didn't feel the same way for him as an artist. I think that it's a really important point that knowing your brand and knowing what your audience likes you for is super important for how you go about making content. I think they made a secondary typical story video, and he released that, and it was so interesting to see how the audience responded more positively to something that seemed less cohesive, less put together. And I think it goes back to this idea of being genuine with your audience. Your audience will know when you're being disingenuous. And I think when you're thinking about writing or thinking about making something, making sure that it's authentic and genuine to the people that you are attempting to reach, because people can sniff it out, especially with so much content and so much media, and so we're pumped full of it right now. So good writing will be able to make an audience feel the thing that you want them to feel. And I think for our audiences, storytelling is really important for considering how you want your audience to feel, because if you make them feel a certain way, that usually means that you'll get them to act in a certain way. Did you see the trailer for the Joker?
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times. Actually, I tell you the honest truth. When I first saw that trailer,
Yeah.
I didn't want a piece of it.
Really?
I thought he was cheesy the way that they made him employed as a clown.
Really?
I didn't think that Joaquin made a sort of.
Did you say yucky? When I looked at the trailer, I saw Yucky playing the Joker. I think that in my head, part of me was like, no one ever is going to do a good job as Heath Ledger. Like the aesthetic of the Joker for me has just like become like ingrained, you know, with Heath Ledger's character. With Joaquin's, it feels like there's this like creation of a character.
It's about transformation.
Yeah, whereas like I feel like Heath Ledger's one was like it's just like the almost the blur in between man and the character he's become.
I feel like Heath Ledger's aesthetic rode off of emo culture and hardcore.
Dude, emo culture is coming back
It's coming
for
back.
sure.
Well,
For sure.